Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys what 11 years worth of trail camera photos compiled into a bar graph tells us what the best time of day to be sitting on the deer stand is during the whitetail rut. I took all of the photos from the past 11 years that I've saved from about that mid-October to mid-November time frame. Every time I got a photo of a daylight buck that I believe is 2 years old or older, I recorded in an Excel spreadsheet tab what time of day I got that photo of it, again, during daylight only. I recorded which hour slot that photo falls into, combined them all back into one bar graph just to show us what the best time to be sitting on stand is going to be. Is it morning? Is it evening? Is it middle of the day? A little bit of everything. That's what I'm going to go through and show you guys in this video. And stick around till the end, because after I show you the bar graph, I'm going to take the 4 largest bucks that I've ever gotten on camera in the daylight. And I'm going to show you guys what time of day I got photos of them. It's pretty interesting. I think it's going to surprise a lot of you. I know it surprised me as I was going through all of these photos. It kind of stood out to me what time of day I was getting them on camera. Again, those are the biggest, oldest, very tip top of the triangle age class bucks. I'm going to show you guys that at the end of the video. As always, if at any point in the video you guys get any value out of it or you appreciate the effort that I've put into it, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing if you enjoy content like this. That really helps out small channels like mine. Similar to the last video that I made where I showed you which were the best days to be hunting during the whitetail rut, in this video it's a little bit different take on it. I'm going to show you what the best time of day is according to the last 11 years worth of trail camera data. I actually had a couple of you request this in the comments. Enough of you finally requested it to where I thought I'd better make a video on this. I've actually been really curious myself on what this actually shows. You know, as I'm hunting over the years, I have my own thoughts on what I think the best time of day is during the whitetail rut, but we're going to prove it here in the video based on these photos, what those times are. So just to give you guys a quick background on what areas I got these pictures in, these are predominantly big woods type settings, and then mixed ag and woods type setting, really light on the ag, like hay field, alfalfa field type mix with large woods tracts. All of the photos are bedding area or just big woods remote rut funnel type settings. So that's kind of the angle I'm taking with this video is rut funnel type movement in the woods during the peak of the rut. What's the peak time of day when whitetails 2 years old or older during daylight are moving through your rut funnel. So those are the only photos I used in this analysis. Again, that's daylight, has to be in daylight, has to be a 2-year-old or older buck, and then it has to be a rut funnel type setting. Again, 95% of these photos are from public land in my rut funnel areas. And so just to be clear, none of these photos or data points that I'm going to use came off of a food plot, an egg field, a corn field, a bait pile, a mineral site, nothing like that. I took all of the food related photos out of the equation and only focused on that smaller subset of photos. All right, so this is the graph after compiling 11 years worth of data. Again, similar to my last video, I made a tab for each year at the bottom of my Excel spreadsheet. I recorded each daylight 2-year-old buck or better on each tab, and then all those tabs summed back to the first page, which gives us our total distribution over the whole day. So I started it, you can see that 5-6 a.m. time frame, and then I ended it at about 7 p.m. And it's a pretty interesting distribution. So just a quick reminder that winter is almost here, and if you have young trees that you need to protect from deer browse this winter, my dad was a forester for over 30 years, and in that time he invented these. He calls them browse blockers. You just put it over your arm like so, grab the top of the tree that you want to protect, slide it down over it, take the clip that comes with, clip it onto the tree trunk. Now this will stay on here all winter. The deer won't browse this. You just leave it like this until spring green up, at which time you remove the clip, remove the browse blocker, save these, because you can use these again multiple seasons, way cheaper than buying metal fencing, and it's a lot more effective than bud capping. If you'd like to order some of these, there's a link in the description of this video. And if you're a subscriber to my channel, and when you go to check out, just select that you found this on YouTube, and my dad will throw in 10 free browse blockers on top of whatever you order. The first thing that jumped out at me when I looked at this was I noticed that that morning time frame was the best time to be sitting on stand during the whitetail rut. Now, that didn't come as a huge surprise to me, because I just know from my own experiences that about that 8 a.m. to, let's say, 11 a.m. time frame is my favorite time of the day. It's a 3-hour period, and this graph really illustrates that well. The thing that surprised me a little bit was, it's not that pronounced of a peak in the morning. I actually thought we were going to see a larger bell curve peak of daylight movement in that morning time frame. So that's the part that surprised me a little bit. And one thing that I did notice was in my really remote big woods type setting spots where I got these photos, I noticed that more of the bucks were moving in the morning, that 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. time frame. Now, some of these photos came from my public land areas in different parts of northern Minnesota, and in those areas where there was a lot more hunting pressure from other bow hunters and gun hunters on public land, I noticed that that morning spike of activity was not nearly as pronounced. In fact, in the areas that saw more hunting pressure, I got almost an equal distribution of photos throughout the day, a lot more in that early afternoon time frame. So that was really interesting. In those really remote areas that we hunt, where there's almost zero hunting pressure, the morning spike was much more pronounced versus those areas with high hunter pressure that I hunt. That saw more activity in kind of that early afternoon time frame. So I found that part pretty interesting. But overall, when we look at the 11 years worth of data on this graph, it's not too terribly surprising. We get that little dip kind of in the early afternoon, that lull of movement, and there's still bucks moving. You can see that all the bars, there's still bucks moving during that time. It's just not quite as much as that morning, about that 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. time frame. Kind of neat. You can see a little bit of a pickup, a small spike in the evening, around 5-6 p.m. You do see another uptick in daylight buck activity. So that was kind of cool. I found this helpful. This did confirm what I thought, that the morning was going to be the best time in the rut, kind of that mid to late morning. I just love that time of day during the peak of the whitetail rut. So overall, now in the last video, I showed you guys which were the best days to hunt. Now in this video, we're talking about the best times. We're really getting a good idea now of how we can maximize our time on stand, maximize, time away from family. If you have family obligations like I do, I got a wife and kids at home. So, this is exciting stuff for me. I think I can use this to really help me gear my hunts and tailor my hunts to just maximizing my time on stand in those rut funnels. This is a part of the video where I said I was going to show you guys the 4 biggest bucks, daylight bucks, that I've gotten on camera. There might have been a couple bigger ones than this, but it was middle of the night when I got them. The point here is I'm going to flip through these. The first one is just an absolute giant, and this is actually one of the most beautiful trail camera photos I've ever gotten in my life. Just an absolute tank of a buck. I don't even know what this thing would score. Super mature. You can see how mature this buck looks. Look at the time on the picture when I got a picture of him. Okay, now here's the second buck. This is a real remote area, big woods rut funnel type setting on the edge of a logging road. Look at this absolute hammer of a buck, and look at the time when I got him, that early afternoon time frame. Okay, this third photo is, again, just a beautiful tall tined buck, super mature, one of the bigger bucks I've ever gotten on camera. Again, notice that time. And lastly, this buck, I don't know what he'd score, probably not the highest scoring buck, but just super massive, huge neck on this thing. Really, really mature buck, probably 4, 5, 6-year-old type buck. Again, look at that time on the photo. This is really interesting to me, you guys, because the absolute biggest and most mature bucks that I have in the areas that I hunt, there's enough photos of them now to where I think this is becoming more of a coincidence. To me, this is now a pattern that those absolute biggest bucks are moving in the really early afternoon time frame. I should caveat that 3 out of the 4 of those big bucks came in areas that see other hunting pressure. So that could have something to do with this, that over time they've adapted and learned to move in that early afternoon when there's the fewest number of hunters on stand. There may be something to that, there may not be. One of these photos, the second buck that I showed you, is in that really remote rut funnel type area with almost zero other hunting pressure other than the guys that I hunt with up there. So this was just an interesting little tidbit that I wanted to share with you guys, because that overall best time frame to kill a buck is that late morning, kind of mid-morning, late morning time frame, I'll say. But think about if you're after the really big ones, you know, I wanted to show you these 4 photos because that alone could be enough of a boost to keep you on stand all day during a rut funnel. You know, if, some guys on YouTube and other folks will say, you know, you should never do an all-day sit. You should hunt, you know, a morning stand by this food source where they're coming back to bedding, and then you should get down and move to a different evening stand where they're coming out to this food source. That's for guys that are hunting on food plots and egg fields, and that's great, but there's a lot of us in the country that don't have that luxury and don't hunt in that condition every time. We're in a big woods type setting or a real large, expansive, sporadic bedding area type situation where we need to get into a rut funnel. It is a great idea to sit in these rut funnels from sunup till sundown. And when you're in those real big woods or large, expansive bedding areas, you know, just look at the bar graph. This is all the proof you need to see that these bucks are literally moving from the time the sun gets up until the time the sun goes down. There's really never a bad time to be in the stand during the peak of the rut, and this bar graph right here proves that. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any comments or cool buck stories, drop them down below. If you have any questions on anything I did, shoot me a comment. I make my best effort to reply to every single one, and I will catch you guys on the next video.